Okay, so this is very interesting. There's lots of emotions going on right now. And, well, if you haven't seen the last episode of When Calls the Heart, titled In My Dreams, don't watch this video because it will contain some spoilers and you're going to be very upset. So, if you have watched the episode, or if you don't care about spoilers, I'll just keep talking. Basically, the last episode ended off in a very unexpected way. It was very sudden. A Mountie comes and tells Elizabeth he's looking for Elizabeth Thornton. She says, "That's me." I don't remember the exact lines, but basically she's like, "Is he hurt? Is he hurt?" And he's like, and then she's like, "Just tell me he's still alive." And he's like, "I'm sorry." And then she like falls underneath. She's like, "No, no, no." And it's like really, really sad. And I was very upset last night. And I'm still very upset today because I couldn't sleep till 5 a.m. in the morning. But other than that, why I made this video is because I feel like there are so many things I've never really gotten to talk about, and I just wanted to have a record of all these things. So, how did I react to this? My first reaction was, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Because we have waited for them to get married and be together since season 1. So we waited 4 seasons. We finally get it in season 5. In the middle of season 5, we see one episode of their wedding, which is not even like the whole episode. It was like the last 10 minutes of the episode was their wedding. The next episode after that was supposed to be their married life, but then all these problems arise, and then Jack has to go on an assignment, and where he's gonna be safe, so don't worry, Elizabeth, it'll be fine. And then after that, we never see them again. We never see them together again, okay? So that was basically the last time that we see Jack's character, Daniel Lissing. So, for me, personally, I feel like it's really sad that we can't see the rest of Jack and Elizabeth's story, because I think in an ideal world, we would have been able to probably renew this series up to like season 10 and then have their kids and have their married life, and it's just like as part of the town. And then the more that they wanted to move on as actors, then they could have just had smaller recurring roles. On another note, I'm not really mad at Daniel Lissing for wanting to leave. If that is the case, there's a lot of speculation here because things are not officially announced, and there's going to be a Facebook Live next Sunday. If we're just speculating, and if Daniel Lissing didn't want to renew his contract past season 5, I think that's his right, and I feel like 5 seasons for an actor to commit to is a lot. A lot of Hearties and a lot of fans wouldn't really hold that against Daniel if he wanted to leave or if he didn't want to continue working with the show. I think that's fine. Actors do move on. Sometimes people don't want to get stuck in a role because they want it to grow artistically as an actor in their craft. And I think that's fine. That's fair. And I don't think anybody should be angry at Daniel for wanting to move on. The thing that I feel has some issues is with the way that this was handled. So I guess it depends on when they actually found out that Daniel didn't want to continue with the series. So it seemed as if it was in season 4 that we stopped seeing Daniel Lissing's character, Jack. In the middle of season 4, in episode 7, that was when they do that really beautiful engagement scene, and he tells Elizabeth that he's going away, and it's very emotional, and it was beautifully done. But if that was the point that they started feeling like Daniel might not renew his contract, then I feel like there was so much they could have done in like forward planning that would have been able to end the series off in a very good note, on a good note. I'm going to read some comments by other Hearties about feeling like as a viewer, we feel kind of played because since season one, we were just waiting for the wedding. So basically, a lot of people are saying that we were begging for the wedding to happen in season two, didn't happen. We were begging for the wedding to happen in season three, didn't happen. We were told everything's gonna be okay, don't worry about it. We were begging for the wedding to happen in season four. We got the proposal, but didn't happen. Finally got the wedding in season five. We didn't even get to see their honeymoon. He goes off again, then he's dead. So I think that's where a lot of people's kind of anger stems from, feeling like they've been strung along this little, like, oh, just trust me, everything's gonna be okay, trust the writers. They wouldn't do anything that is not like a Hallmark thing to do. Like, Hallmark always ends in a happy ending. That's what they keep repeating. So when people keep saying like, oh, don't get mad at Hallmark, like, shows always end things off. There's always a death and everywhere. That's fine. But is that why people tune into Hallmark Channel? In my opinion, and from a lot of people around me, we tune into Hallmark Channel because things are always ended up in a pretty little bow. Things always end up okay. People don't really die that much unless it's like in the very beginning, you're not attached to the character. But anyways, so I'm gonna read somebody's comment, how they feel. So this person said, I have read a lot of posts since I watched the final 20 seconds last night. There are a few minority posts saying it's just a show, get over it. I hear what you're saying. It is just a TV show. But if the fans had not become this massive movement called the Hearties, then this little TV show would have gone a long time ago. You can't ask the fans to be dedicated and loyal and passionate about the show and then tell them to get a life. It's just a show. You can't have it both ways. Regardless of the outcome, whether Jack is really gone or those 20 seconds of film was a cruel bait and switch joke done to us, and Jack is really okay, this show will never be the same for me. I've lost my faith in the powers that be and can never put my trust in them again. You have abused the faith and trust of your loyal Hearties. You have led us all on with platitudes like everything's gonna be okay, patting us on the head like little Cindy Lou, and sending us off to bed with a glass of milk. I'm a big girl. I can handle change and death and actors wanting to move on. But let's be real here. This show went off the rails in season 4, episode 7, when we were asked to believe that in the span of one day, Francine shows up to save the day, leaves Mr. Stoneman immediately in a stagecoach. Jack talks to Frank in the church, tells Elizabeth, who runs off to think, who meets up at Abigail's only to be given a note to meet Jack, who has managed to somehow place flower petals a mile up to the church where Jack proposes, where they are now miraculously in the decorated saloon celebrating, and then he leaves immediately at the crack of dawn to go to the Northern Territories. I'm exhausted just writing all of that. Yet, we were asked to swallow that plot twist and believe it because everything's going to be okay, and we did. We faithfully waited through 4 more episodes in season 4 and on into season 5, all with promises of everything's going to be okay. Only to wait more episodes for a resolution just to have another rushed episode in the wedding where he immediately leaves again. Talk about emotional whiplash. Emotional whiplash. I don't need a happy ending. I don't need a rushed engagement or a wedding. I just need to not be played or insulted. I can accept the magic of time in TV. I get that. But I cannot accept this latest insult to the greatest fan base to ever watch and support a TV show. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Hallmark, When Calls the Heart, producers and writers. You have taken this fan granted for the last time. And I think that person has basically covered like 60% of the gist of why a lot of people are upset. People are upset because this could have been handled much differently. I don't know the things surrounding the decision that happened, but a lot of things went wrong. This is a mess with how this was handled, how this was written. And you know what? That's another thing I just want to address is that, like, people keep saying, don't criticize the writers, don't criticize the producers. Excuse me, this is the entertainment business. People can criticize whatever they want. They are consumers. If you went to the store and you paid for something, like you paid for a product and it's not working properly, is somebody gonna tell you, don't criticize them, the product? No, you're expecting the product to work a certain way. In the same way, Hallmark is a product that is paid for by the viewers, by the audience, and we were led on. We were played, we were manipulated emotionally, psychologically, being told everything's gonna be okay, and it wasn't, and it's not okay. And then for people to say that you're not allowed to express your opinion, you're not allowed to criticize the writers, is not very professional, and it's not very realistic. I'm sorry. Like, people are gonna be upset, and they're allowed to be upset. Let people be upset. You know why? They paid for this. Some people have paid hundreds of dollars buying the DVDs, buying the seasons, buying Hearties merchandise, making their license plate Hearties, like spending so much money because they expected and they were promised a happy ending. And I think that's one huge reason why people are upset. Another thing I wanted to mention is that season 1 is still the best season. And I don't know where they get this notion that season 2 is what made When Calls the Heart better, because I always laugh. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, but you guys are mistaken. Season 2 did not make When Calls the Heart better. You guys changed everything from the magic of season 1, where everything was historically believable. I know it wasn't perfect in historical accuracy, but it was believable. It was realistic. When season 2 came and the set and their makeup was like really overdone, the writing was a little weird, the characters seemed like they were not themselves, some people were upset. Some people thought, wow, like this show's gone downhill. But guess what? Season 2 did not give you your success. It wasn't season 2 that gave you success. It was the Hearties being loyal and being a crazy strong fan base that actually kept this show going. Without the Hearties, season 2 would not have happened. And without the Hearties, season 3 would not have happened. And that is why people are upset. Like, let's just be real, guys. Like, Hallmark Channel is something that you think, when you think about Hallmark Channel, you think cheesy movies, cheesy romantic comedies where the acting is bad, where the writing is bad, but like, it's a feel-good show. So you're gonna watch it because you know by the end of the day, everything's gonna turn out okay, and it's kind of a great escape, right? Like, you don't go to Hallmark for great quality television. You go to Hallmark because you want to have your dose of feel-good TV. And that's fine. Like, that is perfectly okay. And when my sister told me about When Calls the Heart, and she said it was in Hallmark, I was a little bit iffy because I was like, I don't know, like, I'd rather watch good quality television. But when I saw season 1, I thought this show has so much potential. And I just feel from season 1 up to where we are now, everything just went downhill in so many directions. I don't even know where to start. For me, season 1 was the best. There were so many things that made season 1 good. For example, other than the costuming, the acting and the writing was really well done. It was also great in the way that they made the story revolve around Elizabeth and Jack, and yet all the things that happened had to do with the rest of the town. But Elizabeth and Jack were still a major part of those events. And then season 2, where they went downhill, was that they took the Elizabeth Jack story and they turned it into a soap opera. But there was still potential. And then in season 3, which I would say is kind of like the homecoming, basically where Hearties felt like they were going back to the magic of season 1, and that season 3 made me realize it's okay. Let's have hope. Let's actually have hope. It's gonna end up fine. So season 3 was the beginning of like a really good with Pastor Frank there and the prayer and the faith that was there. It was like a really good atmosphere that was created, and it was awesome. Season 3 was awesome. Season 4 was okay, but the proposal scene and Elizabeth singing and those scenes kind of saved it for me. I think that scene probably was like that was the best episode of season 4. Then everything after that was just kind of dragging. As soon as Jack left, the rest of the town, the happenings and the issues were kind of like filler, you know? Like they were good, but they weren't like great, and you weren't looking forward to seeing that part of the show, but you were kind of just watching it to just pass the time, to make sure, like, to know what's gonna happen with Jack. The thing that makes me a little bit sad is because it feels like from season 4 onwards, there were a lot of not product placements, but almost like characters were placed in When Calls the Heart that were not there originally as like a way to promote other Hallmark shows. So I think that was when, for me, it started going really downhill, was when One Calls the Heart stopped being about the writing, about the art of making this great story. It started being about, I don't know, for lack of a better word, maybe money. Maybe they were thinking, wow, like When Calls the Heart, the Hearties, this is our big, huge fan base. And if you've noticed, they do a lot of promotions to the Hearties about other things. They say, Hearties, watch this other show, okay? Hearties, watch this other actor in this other Hallmark movie. And it's kind of like they're using the Hearties tag or label as a way to promote other things. And I think that's okay in some extent, but not in the way where you start sacrificing the quality of the original story in the first place. For example, for me personally, I feel like the AJ Foster character was an okay guest star, but bringing her back reminded me that we're really steering off the original atmosphere of the show. The original atmosphere of the show had a lot of people in Hope Valley that I never see anymore. Like, I don't know what happened to them. And it's kind of sad because, like, we hear so much about these other minor characters that come and go and come and go, and it's all very shallow. Like, I feel like I don't really know the characters of Hope Valley that well when we've already had 5 seasons. 5 seasons. Like Ned Yost. I don't know anything about Ned Yost. And he's been there since season 1. And so I don't know what my point is. I have so much to say, but I feel like I'm gonna just wrap it up here because this is gonna be a very long video. My point is, I am very disappointed. I'm very disappointed because if Daniel Lissing wanted to leave, that this should have been handled better. That the viewers and the Hearties should not have been manipulated in a psychological, emotional manner. That there are way better ways they could have ended this, such as ending it on a season 5, ending the series here, ending it with their wedding, or with Elizabeth getting pregnant and giving birth, and it's a happy family picture. And then starting again and saying, you know, we have a new spin-off series called Hope Valley. Tune in. It's going to be at the same time of When Calls the Heart. When Calls the Heart, the story of Jack and Elizabeth is ended because one of the actors is now moving on to other projects. But, you know, you'll still see Elizabeth and you'll still see the Thornton kids, but they'll just be mentioning Jack from now on instead of making him a major character. And that's fine. I think that would have been a great way to end it. But anyways, I'm going to end this video now because I could go on forever. And again, just reiterating what I said before, this is just my opinion. And we're allowed opinions. Just reminding some people, we're allowed to feel emotions and to have opinions of something that we paid for. Okay? As consumers, we're allowed to have an opinion on the product that we've been paid that we paid for. But we don't know what's gonna happen in the finale. Some people think it's just a dream and that Elizabeth's gonna wake up and everything was a dream. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I guess we'll just